Hi, I'm Terrell Turner, the host of the Finance and Accounting Show. And today we have another great guest on, Matt Remuzzi. And the reason why I'm pretty excited about this guest is because, as everyone knows that watches this show, my firm is in bookkeeping and CFO services, but it's always amazing to learn from people who are further down the road and also just to hear about the way that they're solving some very exciting problems for their ideal clients. It's amazing. You definitely want to stay tuned for today's episode. So stay tuned. Welcome to another episode of the Finance and the Accounting Show. This is the place to go for small business owners. If you're looking for a great way to understand the finance and the accounting side of your business, you're in the right place. So stay tuned and enjoy the episode. So without further ado, let me bring on my amazing guest. Matt, welcome to the show. How are you?
Good. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Absolutely, absolutely. The pleasure is all mine. So now, one of the things that that a lot of people ask me sometimes is, why do you have other people who do a similar business than you on the show? And one of the things I always tell them is, I love just having other people on because there are so many clients that need our support. So can you tell people a little bit about your firm and about the ideal clients that you help?
Sure. Yeah. I completely agree. There's no shortage of business owners out there who need help in this area. So I never look at, oh, these guys are competitors and they might be taking clients. No, there's an almost unlimited pool of clients out there, and there's a lot of bad bookkeeping out there. So, I feel like you're doing a great service helping educate people on what they should be looking for, what bad bookkeeping looks like versus good, and how to make your way, hopefully as a business owner, to good bookkeeping. But what we do for clients is exactly that. Every month we go through, we help them understand their numbers, get them all in accurate, up to date, current, so they can really understand where their business is at, where the opportunity is for growth, where the opportunity is to maybe cut some expenses, and to help answer basic questions like, hey, can I hire another employee? Can I buy that piece of equipment? Can I afford to invest, this much in inventory? Or have I set enough aside for tax time? Those kinds of questions that, if you're not ready for them, can catch you off guard, or you make bad decisions. A lot of times I think people, they think about bookkeeping as, I just got to do that so I can pay my taxes. But really, it's a tool to help you run your business and make good decisions. If you're not using it like that, you're really missing out on something that can be super helpful to you to make your business work better. And that's what we try to do for our clients is, yes, we get the books done, but really to help you use it as a tool to get the business to a better place.
Absolutely. And I absolutely love that perspective because that's one of the things that I see as well is, people trying to really just get their books done for their taxes. And, right now at the time we're filming this, we're in January. So, on average, how many calls do you usually get of people, saying like, hey, I need my books done so I can get it to my tax person?
We get a lot of those, and it's even, which I get sometimes, you just, I'm an entrepreneur too, I get it, right? You get all wrapped up in the process, the building the brand and dragging in revenue and getting clients, and you kind of let the other stuff go by the wayside. But so sometimes that just happens, and you finally catches up with you. But what really drives me nuts is when we have somebody who we did have as a client, right? We got them all caught up, and they're like, boy, but it costs every month. I'm paying this money, and maybe I'll just cancel and I'll come back when I need it again. Like, oh, all right. We can do that. But again, for that whole period of time when we're not doing it, you're missing out on that really good information. Personally, me as a business owner, and I realize I'm in the accounting world, right? But I look at my books every single day. I want to know where I'm at, what's coming in, what cash I have, what's going out. Am I hitting my metrics that I've set for myself? Am I doing better this month than last month? This January versus last January? How much have I grown? I know people go, oh, bookkeeping, that's not sexy. That's so boring. But really, profits are sexy, right? Isn't that why we're doing this? Isn't that the whole point, right? This isn't a nonprofit. We're trying to, build something here. So to me, looking at this and understanding how it works, that's the fun part.
Absolutely. I totally agree. I totally agree. You know, Now, I'm really curious about, you mentioned, similar to yourself, I'm an entrepreneur, like we're entrepreneurs in the accounting, bookkeeping, kind of tax space. But what was your background before you started this business?
So the way I got into bookkeeping, I got out of the MBA program back in 2000, which tells you I'm older than dirt, right? I'm pretty old. So I got out of that in 2000, and I worked in small business consulting, and I was doing that and owned a couple businesses along the way. An online business. I owned a catering business for a while, which was an adventure. And then I sold the catering business myself because I kind of looked at, I could use a business broker, and they charged a pretty hefty commission. And I thought, let me take a crack at selling this myself. So I did. I sold it successfully myself. And then I thought, maybe my path forward here is to buy another business instead of starting one. So maybe what I should do is I'll work as a business broker, and that'll give me the first shot at whatever's, before it's even on the market, right? I'll know about it and I'll find the next diamond in the rough, and I'll be able to buy an amazing business, and then I'll run with that. So I never found that amazing diamond in the rough business, even though I worked as my own business broker for 3 years. But what I found was almost every business I came across had terrible books, right? Because the first thing as a business broker, okay, let's figure out how much your business is worth. Let's look at the books and see what the business is worth. And then they go, oh yeah, funny story about the books. They're 6 months behind, or my Aunt Sue was doing them and she never really knew accounting, but she took a class once, and or whatever. There's always a story, right? And the books were always a disaster. So the first thing we do is, well, before I can even get you a value and figure out how much this thing might be worth, is we got to get some accurate numbers. And so I finally said, the light bulb went off. I was like, you know what I should be doing instead of this business brokering stuff, which was, like any brokering, like real estate or anything else. Some months you'd have a bunch of deals closed and you'd be like, oh, I'm a billionaire. I'm so, and then you'd have 3 months of nothing, the crickets. And you're like, I hate this. So it's like accounting that, and then specifically bookkeeping for small businesses. Like that's the opportunity. There's a huge demand. I know the business owners out there, need it. They know they need it, but they can't necessarily tell good from bad. And a lot of the frustration I was hearing was, oh, the bookkeeper I had, she charged by the hour, right? So one month it was 12 hours, and the next month it was 4 hours, and the next month she didn't even show up. And then the next month it was 20 hours. And like, I never knew what I was paying, and I was always inconsistent. So I was like, here's what's going to make this work better, right? One, we'll do a flat rate. Every month it's the same, whether it's more work or less work. You just know this is how much I'm going to pay. This is what I'm going to get. We're going to have amazing customer service. Like if you call me, I'm going to call you back the same day. I'm going to email you back. You're going to have your stuff every month on time, consistently. And then we're going to just do it right. We're going to have people who know accounting doing the books instead of, Aunt Sue who, read QuickBooks for Dummies and like didn't really get it. So quality, flat rate pricing and amazing customer service. And guess what? That formula worked, right? I went from starting in my spare bedroom, just me doing literally everything, sales, doing the bookkeeping, doing the billing, doing everything, to now we have 55 people in the firm and over 1,000 clients. And it's just that same formula that, good service and flat rates and quality work. And what do you know? That works.
Well, first, congratulations on
Thank
the
you.
growth. I mean, that is no small well, first, congratulations on being in business this long.
Right.
Next, congratulations on the growth.
Yes.
Because I do think that people are, especially anyone that started a business starts to grasp the gravity of what it means to just stay in business.
Yes.
And even if you don't grow, just to survive in business is a
Yes.
challenge within itself. But then to put on top of that, to grow to, like you said, having, 55 people on the team, like, and managing that and not losing your mind is like that is a
Well,
huge.
I won't make any claims to that.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So, a couple of things you mentioned about, just seeing people and let's say, the mistakes that people have made when they've been like either trying to patch it together themselves or they use someone that didn't. Are there some common mistakes that you've seen people make when they, just aren't aren't investing in having the right support in that area?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a tendency to say, okay, I hired this person to do this job and now I'm out. Like, no, I mean, you can hire somebody to do the books, and yeah, they should be posting those entries, they should be reconciling. But you, as the owner, you still have the responsibility to look at those reports. If you're not sure what they mean, how do I read a P&L? What does a balance sheet mean? Take the time to get educated. If the person doing them for you isn't that person that can do that, I mean, there's YouTube videos, there's books, there's people like yourself and me. We're happy to kind of educate you because there's no benefit to having the books done and the numbers in front of you if you never look at them, or you look at them and you're like, I don't really know what this means, right? So again, kind of going back to my point about it's a tool, make sure that you're using that tool. And then when you start to look at it, like, you don't have to be an accountant, just use some common sense, right? If you look at your balance sheet and you're like, the bank account says negative $27,000, like, I'm not an accountant, but I'm pretty sure they didn't let me overdraw by $27,000. So something's probably up there. Or you're looking at your P&L and L and you go, let's see, I paid rent in January and then not in February and not in March and then again in April. But I know I paid every month. So again, something's probably up there. So just, getting to you don't have to be an accountant, but you should understand how to look at your numbers and how to use those to figure out how you're doing. I always tell people, like, it's like if you were training for a marathon, but you didn't keep track of when you went out to run, you didn't keep track of how far you ran each time or anything like that, right? Well, then now it comes time to run the race and you're totally unprepared. If you're going to do it, track your time, right? How far did I run today? Keep a journal, keep track of it. If you've set goals and you're tracking it, you're going to do way better than if you just sort of go out and whatever gut feel. I think I did. I think I ran, whatever. Like, that's the same thing with your business. You set goals, then you track and see how well you did, and then you set new goals and you keep going. And I 100% agree. Just being in business is its own challenge, but you can make it work better by putting a little effort into, really keeping on top of what you're doing and not just being like, hey, every day is a new day and every day is a, fire drill, because that gets old. That's how people get burned out and they're like, the heck with it. I don't want this business anymore. But you got to take steps to make it work better for yourself.
Mhm. Awesome, awesome. Now, speaking of that, like I said, avoiding that getting burnt out. I mean, you've been, building your business and growing it for quite some time. What was that journey like for you? And I guess did you kind of learn a lot the hard way, or did you have like mentors or that kind of help navigate some of those stages?
I definitely have people who were also business owners I could lean on and ask questions to. And I 100% made mistakes along the way. Um, one of the best things that happened to me, which I didn't realize at the time, but in hindsight was super helpful in my very early days, before college, in college, after college, I worked in restaurants and I was a restaurant manager. And that taught me a lot about how to manage people. Because at the end of the day, if you want the business to be bigger than just a one man show, you're going to have to hire people. And as soon as you do that, trust me, managing people is the hardest part of any business. I don't care if you're in software, you install plumbing or air conditioning, or you're, Bill Gates, whatever it is, right? Managing people, that's the hardest part of any business. So I was lucky, even though at the time I kind of hated being in a restaurant. I didn't, wasn't what I wanted to do for my career, but I learned a lot about managing people because I couldn't, I couldn't incentivize them with, hey, I'll pay you more as a waiter or as a busboy, because I didn't have that authority. And second of all, they're like, well, why is this busboy making 20 bucks an hour? Like, oh, I thought he was amazing. Like, you have to work with what you got, right? So you have to motivate people with your words, with your actions, by treating them with respect, by, giving them opportunities to grow and stuff. So I just learned a lot about how to manage people. And then in my later businesses, I never wanted to be a one man show. So it always meant I had to grow a team. but I could lean on that experience. How do you grow a team? How do you effectively delegate? How do you make sure that you're, keeping them motivated with things other than just, hey, I'll just pay you a bunch more money. Will that make you happy? And giving them opportunities to grow, and being able to step back. Like, I think one thing a lot of entrepreneurs have a hard time with is delegating and saying, look, I want you to take care of this and I want you to get it so that it's done, right? And then sometimes you'll come back and you go, oh, you did it a totally different way than I would have done. But that's not really important. What's important is, did they get to the end goal that you wanted, right? Even if they took a different route and they didn't do it the way you did it, if they achieve the goal, then you have to step back and go, hey, that's cool. I can't micromanage everything and everybody, or I'll never get past 3 people and I will drive myself insane. So just, some of those lessons about how to grow a team, how to let go and delegate, and just, you know, again, this is what I want you to get done. How you get there is up to you. I'm not going to micromanage that part. All those things and lessons. I mean, that's 25 years of business experience is taking me to get to this point. So it's not an easy journey, and it's not an automatic thing.
Mhm. Awesome. I think that is something that I've talked to a lot of different entrepreneurs, and especially ones that are in our industry, is where sometimes there's this uncomfortable sense of them feeling like I'm an accountant, I should know all these things. I'm just like, most of these successful ones that I've talked to, probably they learned along the way. So it's awesome to hear you say that.
Yeah, I mean, I think as accountants and people in this profession, especially, a lot of them, do have that sense of like, I'm supposed to know everything. I'm the leader of, like, the buck stops here. I should be able to do it all. But I think that's self-limiting in a lot of ways. It's why you see so many CPA firms where it's, the CPA and a couple of staff and a receptionist or something, and that's as big as it ever gets, because that CPA isn't willing to grow beyond what they can personally keep their arms all the way around. And like I said, I've always had the opposite perspective. I'd much rather have a 55-person team where literally all my job gets down to is just, you know, being on podcasts with folks like yourself, and I'll be the front end of the funnel, and then everything else happens after that. And I've built the team in a way that I know they can deliver. They can deliver on time, they can deliver the quality and whatever, but I don't need to have my hands in all that. And if I take a couple weeks off, I come back, the place hasn't burned to the ground, right? I feel like a lot of small business owners feel like, and you hear it all the time, right? I haven't taken a vacation in 5 years. Well, dude, that's not a badge of honor, right? That's a failure of your setting up a management team. So I've tried hard from the beginning to build to the point where I'm just another cog in my own machine. I'm not the foundation for the whole thing. Because if I'm not here, it should still keep going. And at this point, like with as many people as we have, I even feel like it would be really unfair. Like if something happened to me, I got a bad case of COVID or hit by a bus or something, 55 families should not suddenly be out on the street looking for a new job just because something happened to me, right? That's too much risk for any of them to accept. Like, why would you want to work at a firm that's one person away from complete collapse? Right. So I've worked hard to build a system where anybody here, although they're all valuable and they're all individual and they all make good contributions, any one of them could take a week off or be sick for a week or a month or decide to take a different position or whatever. And the whole thing keeps going. And to me, that should be the goal of any business owner. People always talk about, I want to have passive income. Well, to me, that's what I'm building, is a business that doesn't need me to be here, but still works. That is passive income. I think it's a great goal to build towards. Whether you want to stay and work, 40 or 50 hours a week every week or not, you should be able to step out and have things keep working for you, whether you're there or not. To me, that's a super successful business.
Awesome. I love it. And what I love is the fact that when companies come to you guys for support in, the bookkeeping, the accounting areas, that they're going to get a consistent product as you scale. And I think that's amazing. So, for those that are watching and listening, when you think about kind of your ideal kind of target clients, what would you say your target audience is, and then like what types of problems are you helping them solve?
Right. So, I mean, I would say our in a broad sense, our ideal customer is any small business owner that's, in it enough that you've got regular monthly income coming in, and, you're big enough that you need to keep track of it, but you're not big enough that it makes sense to hire even a part-time in-house bookkeeper, right? It makes more sense to make sure it gets done, but at an affordable rate by an outsourced firm. Even within that, though, our biggest single specialty are people who have online businesses, whether it's e-commerce or a content-based business or an affiliate business or something along those lines. That's our real specialty. We have the most clients in that industry. But really, anybody who's interested in just finding out more, we'd love to talk to them. And the problem we solve is really two things. One, making sure that every month there's a good record of your income and your expenses so that you have that tracked. And when tax time does come around, you're ready and prepared. And even before tax time, you can make sure that you've set enough aside, that you're making maximum use of, potential deductions and write-offs. But even more so, understanding your business from a financial perspective. How is it doing? Being able to set goals and being able to make sure that you're making the most of your business, using it as a tool every month. That's the solution that we offer to clients at an affordable rate, with great customer service. Those are the things I started the business with, and still today those are the same key things that we want to make sure every single client of ours gets.
Awesome. Now, in dealing with a lot of online businesses, do you guys do any of the work around like what supporting sales and use tax filings
Mhm.
or that area?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, that's a very common question. We had a lot of Amazon sellers where a few years ago there was a Wayfair decision, and that kind of established what Nexus was when you're selling in different states. And at the same time, Amazon started being the one that was collecting and remitting sales tax instead of the burden being on the third party sellers. But other platforms like Shopify don't do any of that. So we absolutely consult with our clients. Hey, where are you located? Where are you selling? Are you at or above the thresholds in any of those places? If you are, let's talk about what you need to do to stay compliant, to collect sales tax, to remit it. And we absolutely can do those filings for clients who need it. So yeah, I mean that's always been a hot topic in online businesses. Back in the day, sales tax was set up. You had a little store, whatever zip code you were in, that was your sales tax issue, and that was it. But nowadays, it's so easy to start an online business where not only can you sell across the U.S., but you can sell internationally too. So it's a great opportunity, right? You can out of a little, spare bedroom in Duluth, right? You can be selling to people in Australia and Singapore and Russia and whatever, but you also got to figure out how to make sure you don't get into hot water anywhere. So that's something we've absolutely taken on as one of the things we can help clients with.
Awesome, awesome. And for those of you that are watching and listening, I mean, you've probably seen we've done a couple of episodes where we've had different executives from Avalara on talking about sales and use tax, and one of the things they alluded to is it's getting more complicated.
Mhm.
And so, if you're an online business, definitely look Matt and his organization up because that's an area you don't want to get wrong.
No.
So, Matt, where can people find you guys online if they're interested in looking at the company and checking you guys out?
Sure. So we're on a bunch of places, but the best place to find us, where the most information is on our website, capforge.com. You can take a look there at, our blog and some of our resources. We've got our pricing on there, our services, and of course the contact page. I'm always happy to have a conversation with anybody, whether you think you're too big for us, too small for us, just not sure, whatever. I'm happy to have the conversation. If we can help you, great. If not, no worries, but feel free to reach out, and, if we can provide some support or work with you in a way that's going to be helpful, great. I'd love to talk to whoever is interested.
Awesome. I love it. I love it. So before we wrap up, one final question that I love asking every guest that comes on is when you think about, your history, you think about your experiences, what's two pieces of wisdom that you would leave with those that are watching and viewing? And it could be something you've already said that you want to reiterate, or it could be two new points.
Sure. So, I mean, the general advice that I give to business owners that I talk to, whether they're clients or not, whether they're online business or not, is really understand and think about what makes your business unique, right? So why, if somebody's looking at a range of choices and you're one of them, right? Why are people going to pick you over their other choices? That should come to you like that, right? You should have an answer at the tip of your tongue. Here's why we're the choice for people who would be interested in our kind of service or our kind of business. If you find yourself at all sort of going, or struggling or not sure, focus on that, right? The reason you're going to be successful as a business is because you've got something to offer that they can't easily get somewhere else. And a lot of times new business owners go right to, well, I could offer lower prices. Nah, you don't want to go the lower price route. I mean, unless you have some technology or some reason you can do something for $1 that everyone else it costs them $20, right? But unless you're in that situation, and that's rare, you want to have some reason. You're an expert in your particular area, right? You've got some specialty niche. Like, hey, anybody can do taxes, but I'm a tax expert for expats from Canada or something, or you've got, some other advantage, some clear differentiation why people should pick you. And if you don't, like I said, if you have sort of a general idea of that, really take some time to think about that. That's going to help you know who to market to. It's going to help you know how to market. It's going to help you decide how you price, right? If you've got a premium, unique service that people can't easily find somewhere else, you should not be charging the lowest prices. You should be charging a premium because you've got something they can't easily get somewhere else. But whatever it is, like, know what makes your business special and unique and focus in on that and do that. And if you do that, success is going to follow. And if you don't do that, if you're just another Me Too business, like there's nothing really different about us than none of the 17 other choices you have, don't be surprised when 16 out of 17 people choose someone else because they couldn't tell the difference, right? And then the other piece of advice that I have is, again, I hear so often, oh, I'm not a numbers guy, or I don't like numbers. Learn enough. You don't have to be an accountant. You don't have to get to the level that Terrell and I are at, right, with this, but you do owe it to yourself and your business to have a general understanding of what your numbers are telling you, because there's a lot of information in that can help you run your business better. So you owe it to yourself. It won't take very long, but get educated on what those numbers mean and then put them to use and set goals, track goals, and improve your business by knowing what those numbers are telling you. So those are my two pieces of advice. Know what makes your business different and special, and make sure there is something. And then two, make sure you know your numbers, what they mean, and take advantage of that information to improve yourself.
Awesome. I love it. Well, Matt, thank you so much for being an amazing guest on the show. It's been a pleasure having
Thank you for having me. I've enjoyed it. I like it.
you. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of the Finance and Accounting Show. If you like what you heard, don't be selfish. Make sure you hit that subscribe button and then share this with a friend, because you know a business owner that could definitely use this insight. So be sure to hit that subscribe button, share it with a friend, and turn on the notification bell so you get all the updates when we release a new episode.